Watch this.
Faces of Hope has been helping victims of violence and abuse for nearly 2 decades in downtown Boise. Now the Faces of Hope Foundation will have to find a new location to continue doing so.
I said, I'm going to find a place as soon as I can.
And Moon's Kitchen did. The staple of the Boise restaurant scene found a new place to hang its shingle, moving from one of the oldest buildings in town to one of the newest.
I didn't believe it at first, but yeah, then everybody's like, hey, no, he's from here. And then people started saying he bought his first guitar from your family's business.
What's the connection between a little old pawn shop in Twin Falls and one of the biggest rock bands in history? Well, we can tell you, there's 6 of them.
We're concerned about those temporary measures and the kind of long-term effects they could have on the stability of the building. And if we, for some reason, lost it, that would be an incredible loss for Boise.
Well, if you've been to downtown Boise over the last month or so, you've probably seen the blocked-off sidewalk and lane of traffic on Idaho Street. Well, City of Boise condemned the historic Union Block building over structural concerns, which forced 3 businesses to shut their doors. One of those owners tells us they found a solution: just relocate. When ordered by the City of Boise to shut their doors, owner of Moon's Kitchen Cafe, well, they did do that, but rather than wait it out, they decided to open them somewhere else. Here's Andrew Bartline.
The closures on West Idaho Street place a partial burden on plenty of people: pedestrians, bikers, drivers.
We needed to close the building just to protect people.
But none keep pace with the businesses, closed by the building owner's negligence.
What's happening?
Directed by
the engineer's opinion about what's happening.
Tim Keene.
The problem is it didn't address directly the very things that we had asked about.
5 years of ongoing construction outside Moon's front door created concerns about stability.
And they covered the front of our restaurant with caution tape and construction fencing.
A total eclipse.
So we couldn't even see out of our restaurant.
But days after,
I think the 9th of November,
Moon's waxed its way forward by abandoning the waning month-to-month lease, now full on the corner of 8th and Main.
12 years ago, my wife and I walked in and I told her, I think I'm going to buy the restaurant. And it happened.
If you can't tell, Gary Torrey's a man of action.
Yep.
And that story's no joke.
Nope.
For more than 4,000 moons, this was his livelihood. But that union is far from death do us apart.
My wife said I couldn't do it, but we did it. So
Torrey found their new future.
We moved every single thing with carts.
No more than a block away.
We didn't even put anything in a vehicle.
No truck needed.
No, didn't even move truck.
It's important for the family business to stay in the neighborhood.
Our goal is to be a little bit better tomorrow than we were today.
And it's only fitting for the family business to stay, well, family.
We didn't lose one employee, and in fact, we've gained one so far.
They've actually gained a lot. More space makes for more tables, too.
Keep the menu the same. We have all the same cooks that we had when we closed, same recipes, and we're going to treat it the same, just with a lot better view than we had before. It's going to be the same restaurant.
With just a few more nights to go, Moon's is on a countdown to the New Year's sunrise.
We'll be open on the 1st, so that's our goal. I come in here and I'm like, this is shaping up, and it's just like everything's falling into place. I can't wait to get to work in the morning.
Moon still needs to pass some inspections to get that official opening date approved. So cross their T's, dot their I's. As for the Union Block, the City of Boise says the building owner, his name is Ken Howell, has submitted a structural plan to figure out what those issues are exactly, remedy that. But Mr. Howell also appealed the city's decision to close the building as well. Further, we got a response from the lawyer representing Moon's, mostly Mai Tai at this point, Brian. Okay. They're not month to month. So Mai Tai's locked in for years is what their lawyer told us.
Really?
And it seems that there's a miscommunication, or I guess a disagreement, between Howell, the building owner, and the city on that 60-day clock, when it starts, when it finishes, and again, he's appealing it.
And whether or not it can be finished in that 60-day period, correct?
That's another piece of it, too. We were told by the city when we first reported this a little more than a month ago, if the owner doesn't fix it by a certain time, that 60 days, well, then the city can step in, do what they see needs to be done, and then bill them for it. So we'll see when that happens. But again, that ending date, we're not positive right now. The city says they'll give us more clarity at the end of the week.
So if you're a fan of Moons, same menu, same milkshakes, new location.
8th and Main.
All right, thanks, Andrew. Well, for 17 years, Faces of Hope Victim Center has provided resources to victims of trauma. It's been located in downtown Boise for that whole time. It's been providing wraparound services for survivors of domestic violence, rape, sexual assault, and other related trauma incidents. The center is unique in that it hosts a collection of private and public partners that can assist people in need in one single location. One of those partners inside the center includes the Family Advocacy Center and Education Services, otherwise known as FACES. The foundation, the FACES Foundation and the FACES Victim Center are unique entities that do share a common name. And on Friday, December 15th, the FACES Foundation was notified their presence at the center, an Ada County-owned building, would be ending.
In an extended letter signed by the Ada County Board of Commissioners, the FACES Foundation was informed that, quote, "It is in the best interest of victims and Ada County taxpayers that the foundation vacate the FACES building by January 30th, 2024. This letter details issues seen by Ada County commissioners and other partners that are housed at the center. This letter highlights that the foundation has not signed and returned their license agreement, which is basically their lease, despite several months of ongoing discussions. They also say the foundation insists on using the FACES name for its new Meridian location, going against objections from FACES partners that believe that the Meridian name and location will confuse victims and delay services. The letter says, quote, "Instead of signing the agreement, as has been done for many years, the foundation instead requested multiple significant changes to the agreement, which signal a clear indication that the foundation has made the decision to move away from the integrated partnership." Commissioners also point to the foundation prominently placing their phone number on the FACES Center website instead of the main FACES phone number. They say the foundation did that without consulting partners and claim it has already caused confusion. The FACES Foundation, meanwhile, is working to determine their next steps, and they will meet this week to address eviction and their transition to their Meridian location. Faces of Hope Foundation Executive Director Paige Dinger wrote to me today saying, quote, "We are working quickly to ensure that our services continue with as little impact on our clients as possible. They have been through enough trauma already." With the move-out date set for the end of January, Dinger says their Meridian location will be opening shortly. They're in the middle of renovations now and will open their doors sometimes in January. Faces of Hope Foundation addressed concerns about the name of their upcoming Meridian location in a letter to concerned community members and partners back in November. The letter explains why they are calling the new location Faces as well, saying, quote, "Research indicates that a name change will lead to confusion and hinder our ability to help those in need of our services. The name recognition and trust we have built with your partnership means we will be able to help more victims, not fewer." The foundation also addressed concerns that victims would go to the Meridian location for assistance when they would be better served at the downtown Boise office because they don't know what location offers what. But the November 10th letter says, quote, "Our Meridian location will ultimately result in more people seeking help, where Faces of Hope Foundation will coordinate as needed with clients to get them to services in the downtown location. Faces of Hope Foundation will always put victims first and address the gravity of the potential consequences by getting more people access to the care they so desperately need." And the executive director of the Faces Foundation, Paige Dinger, does tell me that the foundation has been concerned about the environment in the downtown location for a while. Still, they say that they were surprised by the county's decision. They thought that they were still in the negotiation processes. And with that said, though, they say they still have a lot of decisions to make in the near future to make sure they're continuing their Faces Foundation services. But to be very clear, the Faces Victim Center in downtown Boise will continue to operate with their partners like local law enforcement, medical groups, advocates, attorneys. The Faces of Hope Foundation will simply be moving to their new location. So, Brian, I know it's a very intricate situation and there's a lot going on at a high level, but I think for the community to know, it is important for them to know that the services are still going to be available in downtown. And we're going to follow this story. I understand later this week, we're hoping to sit down with them and actually chat through some of this.
Because one of the questions I hope to have answered, if she didn't answer this concern about the environment, did she elaborate on that?
So that was something interesting. We didn't get the opportunity to elaborate with her today. I just got that from an email. But yeah, they said that, we have concerns about the environment, hoping to follow up exactly what that means. Maybe they're happy to leave.
All right, we will follow it up. Thanks, Joe. We're setting the record straight for one of the biggest rock bands in history. Did Nikki Sixx buy his first guitar in Twin Falls? Well, yes, but there's a twist. All right, we want to hear about all your other tidbits of history, known or unknown. Text them to us, 208-321-5614. You can also share your thoughts on just the show in general. Don't forget, include your name and the hashtag #the208. And the better it is, the better chance you have of seeing it at the end of the show. All right, really quickly, think of Twin Falls and what comes to mind. Maybe the Prime Bridge, maybe the Snake River it crosses, or maybe Evel Knievel, who once tried to jump that canyon in a steam-powered rocket cycle. Well, there are other famous people with a connection to Twin. Look at this guy over here. But maybe you're familiar with Mark Felt, otherwise known as Deep Throat, the secret informant during the Watergate scandal. He's from Twin Falls. He kept that and his identity hidden until just before he died. And there was someone else whose attachment to Twin Falls has been declassified for at least the last 4 decades. Nikki Sixx, the songwriter and bass player of one of the biggest glam metal bands ever, spent several of his formative years, some of his junior and high school years, in the Magic Valley. That part is known for a lot of people. But did you know, over the last several years, there have been several points in Nikki Sixx's origin story where the strength of his connection to Twin Falls has been confirmed. This is that story.
Jerome might have been small, but it had a downtown with a J.C. Penney, a Western Auto, a Dairy Queen, and a couple of drugstores.
A lot has changed in Jerome since the 1970s.
In those days, Jerome had a stoplight at the intersection of Main and Lincoln, which were the main streets in town.
The stoplight is still there, but the J.C. Penney, the Western Auto, they're not. And neither is a certain commemorative mural. It kind of is. You can still see the peepers of Nikki Sixx peeking in on the patio of a local pub. So why Nikki Sixx? Well, it's pretty well known, the bassist of one of the biggest bands in rock history, Motley Crue, twice called small-town Jerome home. Back then, he was called Frank Ferrana, a skinny Italian kid who at 14 was sent to live with his grandparents. Frank showed up just before the beginning of 9th grade at Jerome Middle School, while in the middle of growing out his hair.
We had finally compromised on something that looked like a bowl cut. Then, to top it all off, I'd just gotten glasses.
Jerome plays a pivotal part in Nikki's new book, The First 21, How I Became Nikki Sixx.
But there was only so much trouble for the cool kids to get into because Jerome was so small.
But the city to the south also had a significant role.
Not quite the original, but it's still a good gun.
Twin Falls is home to Red's Trading Post. Has been since the 1940s. Lowell Red Kenny passed the business to his son.
My grandfather was Wayne Red Kenny. He had a red hair and all that.
They sold everything at Red's.
Everything. You had tools, you had...
Guns.
Oh, definitely guns.
And some musical instruments.
Yes. You could pretty much find anything. And if not, we could find it.
Ryan Horsley grew up around the store, and by the mid-1980s, he was getting into music.
I was in at least 6th, 7th grade.
Okay.
And, all of a sudden, Motley Crue is huge. I love Motley Crue.
That was also when the stories of the band's connection to the Magic Valley began to circulate.
Then everyone's saying, Nikki Sixx is from Jerome. I didn't believe it at first, but yeah, then everybody's like, hey, no, he's from here. And then people started saying he bought his first guitar from your family's business. And at first it was exciting, but then you started hearing people going, oh, hey, and he was my brother's best friend, or he's everybody else's best friend. And so it wasn't that exciting to hear because you started having a lot of doubt of if it was actually true.
So when did it finally click and confirm for you that, okay, this is in fact true?
There was an episode of LA Inc. with Kat Von D.
This week on LA Inc.
LA Inc. was a late-aughts reality show shot in a tattoo studio.
What if I do all this work and he hates it?
My girlfriend's insane.
It starred Kat Von D, who at the time was dating Nikki Sixx.
And the pressure's on as I agree to take on a new design project for my man Nikki.
She redoes the studio, and at that point, she presents him with a picture of our old store.
That's so weird you found this. You found it in my storage box anyway, right? This is where I bought my very first guitar when I was like 16 years old.
I start getting phone calls left and right from everyone, honestly across the country, asking me if I saw the episode.
How long was I gone? 3 weeks? I'm blown away.
And so then it's official. So then we can finally say, this is where he bought his first guitar, but then what do we do with it?
What Ryan did was call artist Bruce Whipple.
I had heard the word Motley Crue, but I had never heard Nikki Sixx.
Ryan wanted a sign outside his shop, but not just any sign.
I thought, let's do a big sign, but at the same time, something he would be proud of.
Ryan wanted it life-size. He wanted it to say, this is where Nikki Sixx bought his first guitar.
He wanted something people would come and take their picture with.
And people have. But since the rolled steel and copper sign was installed in 2014, Ryan quietly harbored hopes of a certain someone stopping by to snap a photo.
A lot of people would say it, but I'm like, nah, it's not gonna happen. It was a cool thought in the back of your head, but nah.
Until it did.
Until it did.
It was on a Saturday. That's when we came down to feed the cats.
Because that's what you do.
Yeah, that's what I do. I have to feed them every day.
That day in November, the store was closed, and Ryan's mom, Terry, saw someone out front.
He comes jumping up on the on the deck up here, and then pretty soon he's on his knees. And I told my husband, "What is he doing?"
He was apparently sticking something under the door. Terry relayed this story to Ryan days later.
So I asked, what did he stick under the door?
We got these little picks.
You saw those under the door?
Yeah, they were in that little crack down there.
Terry didn't quite pick up what he was putting down.
No, I don't play the guitar.
I was taught.
Then Ryan showed his mom a video.
Is this the truck that he was driving? Is this the guy? And she's like, oh yeah, that's him. I go, it's Nikki Sixx.
Further proof? The picture Nikki posted on social media days later.
Wait, what just happened? And so it was nuts.
Yeah, he was here. It's just cool.
But what is still up for debate, whether Nikki nabbed his first guitar at Red's. Years ago, after the Red sign was first put up, the bass player tried to set the record straight, saying he actually stole his first guitar from a Seattle music store around 1972. But as he explains in his book, it wasn't a bass. So he sold it and used the money to buy a real 4-string. Soon after, now 16, a drug arrest brought Frank back to Idaho, but not empty-handed.
I took a Greyhound bus back to Jerome. I had my Fender bass with me, a duffel bag full of clothes.
And it wouldn't be long before Frank found Red's.
Whenever Tom and I had gone to Twin Falls, we'd stop by a place called Red's Trading Post.
There, he saw someone had pawned a Univox guitar.
It was a Les Paul copy with a beautiful sunburst finish.
So Frank bought it, with money he made moving irrigation pipe. The same guitar in this picture from 1976, just before Frank left for Los Angeles. So yes, the first guitar Nikki Sixx legitimately bought, he picked up at a pawn shop in Twin Falls. And nearly 50 years later, he returned for a bit of payback.
Yeah, it's crazy. It was cool that he knows that this community loves and supports him, and that, you know, that we're proud of him. And that's the biggest thing. This is still his home, and he's always welcome here.
So the oldest gun shop in the state of Idaho plays a pretty big part in the origin story of one of the biggest rock bands in the world, which is pretty cool. Nikki actually lived a short time in Twin Falls before he moved to Jerome to live with Nana and Tom. He did come back to Jerome once after he moved to LA in 1976, and you can see a few of those pictures online. But now he has kind of moved back to his Intermountain roots. He now calls Jackson Hole, Wyoming home. We tried to ask Nikki about his trip to Twin last month, and we're still hoping to coordinate a time during his busy schedule.
Happy Monday, everyone. No pressure, but there are about 6 shopping days left as the Christmas holiday is 1 week from today, if you can believe it. And this Monday, we were chilly, 36 degrees in Boise and Mountain Home. These are the high temperatures for today. Closer to 40 out in the Magic Valley and on up into Haley. This is, though, 6 degrees warmer than Boise ever got yesterday. So that's some perspective for you. On Sunday, we only hit 30 degrees in the City of Trees. The sun is setting right now. We are seeing the sunshine, which is kind of nice, albeit briefly. 34 degrees right now in Boise. So as we look outside at our satellite and radar picture, we did have some precipitation earlier in eastern Oregon and the Treasure Valley with some freezing rain at times in eastern Oregon. Most of it is tapering off right now, some very light rain east of Twin Falls. So we'll get a little lull in the action right now as this system that is triggering this current round of precipitation really starts to kind of peter off as the evening progresses. This next one lining up behind it will dive to the south, and that will support more showers through the day tomorrow and likely will weaken the inversion that we have in place. We're already seeing much less fog and haze out there. Visibility has improved, so our air stagnation advisory will expire at 11 o'clock tonight. And the system, since they're pumping in that moisture from the south, the direction of our weather will be from the south for the next several days. Look how temperatures rise as well. So freezing rain is a possibility tomorrow morning. Please remember that if the roadways look slick early Tuesday, assume it might be some ice and just give yourself some extra following room. Wednesday, the showers taper off, highs up around 50 for the rest of the work week. By the way, we kick off winter on Thursday with that winter solstice.
All right, a couple of comments today about Nikki Sixx origin story in Jerome and Twin Falls, like this one from Bob in Jerome. I remember hearing Gary Puckett also went to or graduated from Twin Falls High. I think that's true as well. Gary Puckett, Union Gap, that's true. Christina Hendricks from Mad Men, also a Twin Falls High School graduate, I believe. Every time I'm out delivering Amazon packages in Jerome, I think to myself, where did Nikki live? End up blasting the crew for the rest of my route, says Kyle. That's true. He lived in a trailer. It was like a double-wide trailer there in Jerome, so keep a lookout. He posted a picture of it on his Instagram page when he was in town just a few months ago. So if you see it on his Instagram page, you might be able to find it. We'll see you tomorrow.